Well, thank you for joining us on JW Night Talk Confidential. And tonight we have a few callers online. So let's get right to it and talk to our callers. So here we go with caller number one from Kenya.
Thank you for taking my call. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness and left the religion when I was in my mid-20s. I have been an ex-JW for 10 years and I still live in the past. I have a hard time getting those old JW memories out of my mind. Do you have any ideas that will help?
Well, thank you, caller number one from Africa, for sharing that. That's a common question. We move on in life. We quit the JW religion, and I did that. We quit it, and it never goes away. It just circles. It circles in our mind, and it's that Rutherford trance. It's all that JW programming and the end's coming and Armageddon, all these things circle in our mind. It never goes away. So here's what I can say. It's everyone has their own story. Like I have my own story. That's your story, his story, her story. So that's how history is made. It's his story. So it becomes history. And to allow it to become history, sometimes we have to write things down and make a history book, because if we don't write it down, it just keeps circling. It's like it happened yesterday and it never goes away. So we have to make a history book out of it. History, that's our story. His or her story is history. Write it down, and this is the best therapy that you can do. And once you got all those thoughts, and it may take you months to write these things down, to journalize all the stuff that's floating around in your head. And once you have these things written down, you feel really good about it, and you think you got this book now, and you can put this book on the shelf, and it's your history. All these things that happened, and then what do we do? Well, if we keep living and reliving history, we live in the past. We never enjoy the present. And isn't that what God gave us, is a gift? God gave us the gift, or the present, right now in real time. So we forget about history. That was yesterday. But what's happening around us today? What are we doing today? So if yesterday is haunting us, maybe we can use yesterday to help others today that are perhaps coming out of the religion and they don't know what to do and they're lost. So there's a way of taking history and helping the present and presenting it as a gift for those that are coming out of the religion. So my advice to any out there that are living that old Rutherford trance, they can't get out of their head, is write it down and put it on the shelf and start living things today and start enjoying life and looking for the little things in life and find that life isn't that bad when you look for it. So that's my advice. Well, I see there's another caller, so we'll let the other caller come in, and caller number two.
I saw your video online and thanks for taking my call. I have been raised in the truth and all the way through school I have had honors with excellence. I want to go to university to be a doctor, but my parents keep saying that higher education is not necessary with the end so close. I want to be respectful to my parents and the elders in the congregation, but at the same time I just feel I'm wasting my abilities just being a janitor like most of the pioneers. I'm at a loss now. I'm just finishing up grade 12 and I'm not ready to quit learning. I feel I have so much more to learn. Do you have any ideas you can share that may help me?
Well, thank you, caller number two, for sending in that message to us. And this is a huge thing in the Jehovah's Witness religion, because the religion teaches, I guess, that higher education is not necessary because we're so close to the end. So they want everyone out in the preaching work. And the question is to everyone out there, is this biblical? Does the Bible teach this? And you don't have to go far to the Bible to find out that it doesn't teach this at all. Even Luke was a doctor, and obviously at that time he had to take some higher education to learn how to be a doctor. But here's what it says. If you go to 1 Corinthians and chapter 12, and I'm using the Jehovah's Witness Bible, the New World Translation, the 1984 edition. And it says there in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 4, it says, "Now there are varieties of gifts, but there's the same Spirit. And there are varieties of ministries, and yet there is the same Lord. And there are varieties of operations, and yet it is the same God who performs all operations in all persons. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one for a beneficial purpose. For example, to one there is given through the Spirit speech of wisdom, to another speech of knowledge, according to the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healings by the one Spirit, to yet another operations of powerful works, to another prophesying, to another discernment of inspired utterances, and to another different tongues, and to another interpretations of the tongues. But all these operations the one and the same Spirit performs, making a distribution to each one respectively, just as it wills. For just as one body is one, but has many members, and all members that a body, although all being many members, are one body, so also is the Christ." So when we look at that scripture, it really points out the fact that we all have talents. We all have gifts. Some of us will have gifts of speaking. Some of us will have gifts of tongues. But even if we have gifts of tongues, it says others will have to interpret those gifts. So it's quite interesting how that scripture shows that we're all different. We all have different gifts. And for this young man, this caller number 2, I would recommend to explore your gifts just as it brings out in the Bible. And if you explore your gifts, that'll take you to where you should be. So what do? You're in high school, you're only 17 perhaps. Perhaps you just wait another year and move out, get your own apartment, take out your own loan because your parents aren't going to help you. But there's lots of student loans. So you take out a student loan, you want to go for higher education. Fortunately, you're in a country that might help you there. You take a loan out and you go to school, you get that higher education, and you pay off that loan. And you'll see that the end didn't come then. You'll have went to school all those years, and you might be helping your parents out because they might have wasted all their money waiting for the end, but you didn't. You were one of the wise ones and pursued your gift. So that's my encouragement. Be respectful to your parents. You might have to move out and be your own person once you're 18, 19, whatever the age limit is. And I recommend just get out on your own and make your own decisions. Well, thanks again for listening, friends. And until our next episode on JW Night Talk, we look forward to seeing your questions. Bye for now.